let's start with the sports aspect of it.
Well, you know what I want to talk about? This was the first weekend without football, and I'm struggling a little bit. And I thought about it. I was like, what's it like for you, man? I mean, I know we have this big Super Bowl coming up, but like, I literally told my brother, I was like, I'm worried about the postpartum depression.
Tell me about it.
I mean, do you go through it every year?
I go through it every year where I'm wondering, there's a void. But yesterday was the first Sunday I had not been on television or worked in quite some time.
Sure.
And I looked up in the sky. I'm like, wow, the sun is shining. Like there's an outdoors, But then at the end of
is it a good feeling for you then that you get a break and the rest of us just suffer?
Listen, it's the ultimate first class problem. But yes, football not being played, and then after the Super Bowl's over, it is a complete and total loss. It's a void. You know what I mean?
What I think is really surprising me about this season, we've talked about it before. I'm a lifelong Seahawks fan.
Yes, sir.
I've got this 13-year-old boy who's as big an obsessive fan as and so the two of us, we really share it, right?
Yes.
And because the NFL has just become so shockingly brilliant in its entertainment, and that wild card weekend when you were able to lock in for 4 games in a row, that were some of the best sports I've ever seen.
Right. Yeah.
Every single game.
Right.
I even heard him, Mike McDonald talking about it, the coach of the Seahawks, saying how he was like, I started to care deeply about one team winning. Why did I care so much about one? He was, and I've had that feeling. So there's kind of that post weekend letdown every time of like, okay, back to reality. To be so involved in the sport. But then with the Seahawks in particular, this whole season, I found myself being kind of emotional in a way that's been surprising to me.
Well, how so? What do you mean?
So we were lucky. We got to see both games, both Rams games, meaning the one that was here that they lost, the last second with the field goal, and then obviously the extraordinary one at Lumen Field.
Which the Thursday night one?
The Thursday night one.
Oh, my God.
Which was... It was mind-blowing to be in that stadium.
Now, what was it like, though, early fourth quarter when you're down 30-14? The Rams just picked off Sam Darnold inside the 5-yard line, and you thought this thing was what?
Literally, this is why I'm saying all this, was because I thought, do we go? You know what I mean? Because there was reasons why we had a very early flight. There was a bunch of different reasons. I was like, and my heart was like, I was hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, my heart was like having this kind of like emotional reaction. And I was like, that's wrong. You can't, I don't even mention that. Right.
Yes.
And so obviously then Shaheed does the return and suddenly we're back in it. But the emotion, I've never, ever understood what it is to be a soccer hooligan, but suddenly I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it. I understand why, Bills fans are suffering the way that they are.
Right.
And so emotionally, that's what's been surprising. And even obviously in this last playoff game with the Rams, I mean, I felt like I was on a roller coaster where my son was like, calm down, Dad. And I'm like, oh my God.
So you passed this on to your son, is what you're saying. Or vice versa in a way.
It might be the fact that he's so invested and that it's something we share so deeply together. We're so, we just lock in during,
How did the Seahawks become the team, though? I mean, you're born in Arkansas and you bounced around, right?
Bounced around, but I went to high school in the Seattle, Gig Harbor, Washington, a small little fishing village not far. And so the first NFL game I ever went to was in the Kingdome. The Steve Largent, great Jim Zorn era.
Yes.
Right. And so the first team that I ever supported for the NFL was, I guess a little late in my life, but so I didn't. So that's the first thing I shared with my dad. First time we ever went to an NFL game, Kingdome, all of it. And so I became a Seahawks fan at that point. Have always stayed one.
Yeah.
But then, then I think it does have to do with the fact that my son has just grabbed onto it so hard, so deeply.
Right. Now you've bonded. And now look at all those pictures that we just showed from your Instagram where you're just locked in and you're tattooing your face and stuff like that. You are into it. I'm all the way in. And Darnold doing what he's doing and JSN doing what he's doing and Kupp doing what he's doing in the running game. And they're just so young and talented and fast. They play fast. Yeah. They hit you in the mouth too. So they're quick and they're physical, which is what you obviously want in a football team. You know what I mean?
I think what John Schneider, the GM, has done there is the fact that this guy's he's gotten Executive of the Year with two different, organizations in a sense, even though it's the same organization. Sure. It's the first time, obviously, people know that's ever, people who really follow sports know that that's happened. But what this guy's done, and even down to did you hear that he went to Mass? He's Catholic and went to Mass and prayed to be able to hire Mike McDonald.
That is news to me. I did not know that.
He did, and you realize that's how deeply that his it's almost sacrilegious, but his true deep understanding of the game, his ability, all the things that he's done is really remarkable, and that I am struck by Mike McDonald. I'm struck by the interesting tactician of him, the quietness of him. Coaching really fascinates me, and I just am in awe of what this team and this guy's done. And my son believes that we might be on the verge of a dynasty.
Well, I'll leave you with this nugget then before we move on a little bit here. Josh Lucas, because NFL Network research department, I don't know how they snagged this, but I should know what John Schneider did to hopefully sway the coach to be hired, right? That every time there's been a new pope, the Seahawks have made the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Did you know that?
I did. That's why there's this there's this weird, obviously the pope element, but then the fact that John Schneider went and prayed at Mass.
Well, I guess it's a good thing they didn't take on the Bears, because the current pope is a Bears fan.
Absolutely.
So that would have smashed up against higher powers.
But I loved your episode that you did recently, which was all of the mind-boggling statistics of that Rams matchup, of that playoff matchup.
Yeah,
just how close it is. I mean, it was.
Oh yeah, it was 1 point difference in terms of the history of the series,
but also everything about it is just. And I will say as well, during that playoff game, and the fact that we ended up winning, I did feel a little bit that was the Super Bowl. There was a sense of...
There is that sense, except the Patriot fan over there might beg to differ. And
we'll see you next weekend. Right?
That's right. Yeah, there's no doubt. And it's just that the 2001 Patriots team also had a second-year quarterback and a second-time head coach go up against an NFC West team that was supposed to spank them, and we all know what happened in that one. Look, so it's truly the any given Sunday, but you take a look at the matchup, and the Seahawks do come in, I think, as the better team for sure.
They're on fire right now. They really are. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen them just grow and develop, and even down to that moment after the Rams win in the playoffs the other night, where you saw Mike McDonald say he didn't care. There was something kind of cold in a way that I've not seen from him, which was this guy. I've always sensed, and again, to go to the coaching of it all, right? That he's not the friend of all the players, but there was a kind of very friendly, jovial, kind of good guy aspect to him. But suddenly to see that the hard edge to him that is appearing, but I feel that way throughout the whole way the Hawks are playing, and the discipline of what they're doing, which is why obviously that moment when the taunting foul happened the other day, you saw the team, it's not acceptable. They're playing in a unified, cohesive way.
Yes.
That I think is a testament to the organization as a whole. But that's what, again, we'll see with the Super Bowl. I'm fascinated by Vrabel too. I mean, Vrabel is obviously his own force and to do what he's done.
Yeah, man.
These two young, powerful coaches coming. It's great. It's the NFL's on fire.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.